Video games cater to a wide variety of people. Some of us play competitively and do battle against others to prove our worth. Others want to experience thought-provoking stories and gawp at gorgeous graphics. And then there are some who look for a nice relaxing game to play at the end of a long, busy day. The content is unimportant, as long as it allows us to sit down, switch off, and explore to our heart's content, then we are very happy. Luckily, there are plenty of games out there to vegetate too, and whether you choose to do so by catching critters, exploring alien planets, or rolling up a giant ball of people, I can guarantee there's something for everyone that exists in game format. So how do we feel when a usually relaxing game suddenly takes a dark, anxiety-inducing turn? How many games have lulled players into a false sense of security, only to unexpectedly pull the rug out from under their feet with harsh music stings, dark, creepy environments, or just a general sense of something feeling off? Well, that's what we're looking into today, so in no particular order, here are 10 creepy moments in otherwise relaxing games. There's something I find inherently disturbing about walking simulators that often puts me off giving them a go. Probably the fact they usually have the character you play as the sole being of a beautiful yet ultimately empty world. But that same emptiness that I find off-putting is possibly what others love about walking simulators. The chance to leave their real lives behind and get lost in a meticulously crafted forest, with the only company being themselves and the inner ramblings of the narrator. Such is the case with Dear Esther, though the game takes place on an island rather than in the woods. Despite my aversion to walking simulators, this is one I've actually played through multiple times and own 2 whole copies of, simply because every time I play it, I'm blown away by the sheer splendour of it all. The rolling hills, the glowing caves, the glorious views from atop the island. It's certainly a game that can leave an impression on you, in more ways than one it seems. From the very beginning of my experiences with Dear Esther, I noticed ghostly figures appearing in various places on the island. At the top of a lighthouse, walking along the cliffs, even as reflections in puddles. Luckily, they're completely harmless, and trying to get close or even look in their general direction is often enough to make them disappear. But I don't know whether I should be grateful that I'm not completely alone in this walking simulator, or deeply concerned that my only company is a bunch of antisocial mute ghosts. In all my years of video gaming, I don't think I've ever played anything quite as relaxing as Animal Crossing. Sadly, I'm too broke for a Nintendo Switch and thus have not had the chance to venture onto new horizons. Haha, see what I did there? So my only experiences of said franchise come from Wild World on the DS and New Leaf on the 3DS. Though I figure they all play out fairly similarly, so it doesn't really matter. Now, Animal Crossing is certainly not a series one would associate with creepy moments, though I tell you, those gyroids do look pretty dodgy. There are situations, however, that can certainly catch a player off guard. Knocking a beehive out of a tree is awful enough, what with that harsh piano sting, no pun intended this time I swear. But what really creeped me out was coming across tarantulas and scorpions in the middle of winter and summer nights respectively. Now, my memory is a little hazy here as it's been a long time since I played Wild World and New Leaf, but I do distinctly remember hearing a loud skittering sound before seeing said creature. Continuing on with your reckless hunting mission will cause the tarantula or scorpion to attack, and if you're not fast enough to catch it before it gets too close, No Man's Man's Sky is a chill game about flying to various planets and picking things up that don't belong to you. These newfound shiny things can be used to build bases and technology, trade with locals, or even just sell on the galactic market for a decent amount of dosh. So it's no surprise that upon discovering a pretty penny can be made using the aforementioned trade stations, many a new player will begin filling their pockets with whatever goodies they can get their grubby little hands on. So I can imagine lots of players, besides me, believed they'd hit the jackpot when they eventually found a seemingly uninhabited planet filled to the brim with purple eggs worth their weight in gold due to the larval cores they contained. Now, a smart man would ask the question, what could have possibly laid this many eggs on a derelict wasteland planet? But
I'm not a smart man.
turns out these whispering eggs are the brood of the near-endless horde of biological horrors, the one and only creatures that can live on dead worlds such as this, and understandably they don't take too kindly to you destroying their eggs. Navigating a planet with seemingly no life is creepy enough, but the addition of horrifying, hammerhead-looking monstrosities bursting through the ground in droves and swarming your poor character who knew no better certainly makes for a heart-stopping experience upon first playthrough. Now, I have to admit, I find House Flipper extremely unsettling. Whenever I played it, I never felt comfortable in the house I was renovating, and always suspected the game was disguising itself as a therapeutic fixer-upper simulator in order to hide something far more sinister, like a serial killer hiding in a bedroom or some evil cult living in the basement. Turns out I'm just a weirdo, and for the most part, people find this game incredibly relaxing to play. I mean, what could be more soothing than literally watching paint dry? That is, until you enter a house with a cockroach infestation. Disgusting! I mean, yeah, it makes sense in a game about doing up unloved or even abandoned houses. Heck, I have issues with cockroaches in my own house. But that doesn't mean I'm okay dealing with them, even in a video game setting. Turns out many people felt the same way because developer, Empyrean, released a patch that allowed players to toggle the cockroaches into shattered glass. Journey is a short but memorable game in which players are tasked with the goal of reaching a mountain summit, an arduous trek filled with many a hazard, not least of all the unrelenting weather. The journey is one worth taking, however, as the game is wonderfully crafted with gorgeous graphics, vivid colours, a cryptic backstory told only through visions and murals, and some of the most beautiful music I've ever had the pleasure to listen to. There is one area, however, that I'm sure has filled many a player with absolute fear and dread: the tunnels. It's dark, the music is eerie and disturbing, and of course there are those ominous winged worm-like statues surrounding you on all sides. But hey, at least your little floaty buddies are here to keep you company. Well, shit. These monstrosities are known as guardians, and were once the flying, docile creatures you see near the end of the game, having been turned into weapons by ancient warring civilizations, encased in stone, and fitted with searchlights to seek and destroy little dudes just trying to take a leisurely stroll. It's the way they snake around the tunnels hunting for you that creeps me out. And while they do make multiple appearances after this point, it's this first meeting that stands out to me as being an utterly terrifying moment in an otherwise relaxing, go-with-the-flow type of game. The KATAMARI series is without a doubt one of the most colourful, whimsical, and utterly wacky franchises I've ever had the joy to play. The whole concept is bonkers, and of course only something the Japanese could come up with. Playing a character known only as the Prince, you must roll as big a ball, or katamari, as possible out of whatever will stick. Be it people, cars, buildings, mountains, the possibilities are endless. And the bigger the Katamari, the happier the king of all cosmos will be, as he needs them to create new planets, islands and whatnot, usually because he accidentally destroyed them in the first place. Sadly, I never actually got to own any of the series and only experienced the first title via demo, but I played that demo disc to death, especially as Katamari made for a nice break from more intense games I would often play. Now of course, this isn't a list about super chill games, it's a list mentioning creepy moments in them. But what could possibly be creepy about this? The game over screens are in complete contrast to the bright and fanciful nature of the usual gameplay, and has undoubtedly put many a young player off continuing their Katamari adventures, at least for a little while. Okay, maybe some people don't associate Pokemon games with being relaxing, especially if you play competitively and do all that battle tower mumbo jumbo. I, however, mainly play Pokemon games to chill and add to my ever-growing collection of unloved critters, forcibly stuffed into Pokeballs and thrown into a bank to be forgotten about. Now, the Pokemon series has been called out before for its creepy moments, with Red and Blue's Lavender Town being notorious amongst fans for its slightly off-putting theme. But there's a particular moment in another installment that left me slightly shocked and wondering what the hell just happened. And that moment came during my visit to Lumiose City in Pokemon X and Y. Entering a particular building and using its elevator will cause some weird feckery to occur after you exit. The normally cheery music of Lumiose City will cease to play, the lights will flicker on and off numerous times, and then a woman dressed in dark clothing will suddenly appear behind your character. She'll then slowly glide around you before ominously stating, "No, you're not the one." What the heck was that about? To this day, nobody knows who she is or why she exists in the game at all. There are plenty of theories about her identity and purpose, but nothing concrete, which just makes her all the more unsettling in a game aimed at being family friendly. Exploring the enormous underwater crater of Subnautica's planet 4546b is a real treat, filled with an abundance of strange, wondrous creatures, alien plant life, and a multitude of caves and systems filled with goodies just waiting to be discovered. And while this in itself can make for some hair-raising moments, such as becoming trapped under the hypnotic gaze of a mesmer,
it looks so friendly. Do not resist.
For the most part, Subnautica is an extremely relaxing and fun game to play. However, there's one place in Subnautica that I'd advise you don't go investigating anytime soon. This dead zone surrounds the entire of the playable area and acts as a means of deterring the player from straying too far out to sea, simply by being bloody scary to get lost in. But if the murky black depths of nothingness aren't enough to put you off exploring, the Crater Edge's local residents, the colossal and altogether terrifying ghost leviathans, will be happy to introduce themselves. Somehow, a game about escaping life's chores and bores by doing those exact same things in a virtual reality became popular. Indeed, some people do wonder what the appeal of The Sims truly is, and even more wonder how anyone could possibly buy anything from a series whose current 4th iteration with all DLC packs costs well over 500 quid. But you're not here to listen to me talk about EA and their ever-growing pile of cash, freely given to them by brainwashed twerps, like me. You want to know what makes this game so creepy? Well, it's actually something from the first entry of the series, which I just refer to as The Sims 1. So you've finally got everybody's ever-dropping needs to a stable level, you've just sent the last of your Sims to bed, and you take a quick breather as the game speeds through the night on the fastest setting, ready to start this whole charade of balancing stats all over again on a brand new day. Before the night ends, however, this sting plays whenever a burglar appears on your lot. The best of it all, or worst I suppose in this situation, is this same sting can be heard multiple times throughout the game. If you miss work, you'll get an angry call from your boss accompanied by this sound. And, perhaps the biggest troll of all, you'll hear it once again when a certain El Bandito, the raccoon, appears on your lot to raid your trash cans. Minecraft, the one game that comes to mind for most people when the words sandbox and survival are mentioned. There's no need to go into huge detail as we all know what Minecraft is, and I'm sure many of you could make an entire list of creepy moments solely from this otherwise peaceful franchise. There's the ambience that starts playing when near a cave, Endermen stealing blocks from your house and getting awfully upset when you ask for them back. Heck, even just realising you're one small, insignificant being in a vast open world of endless possibilities can be enough to fill players like me with a sense of existential dread. Honestly, I'm beginning to wonder if Minecraft truly deserves to be classified as a relaxing game to play. And that's my list of 10 creepy moments in otherwise relaxing games. If you know of any other freaky goings-on in games you consider chill to play, let me know in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like as it really helps me out, and I'll see you in whatever I play or talk about next. Bye bye!